Morning, everyone. Let's jump right into it this evening. So we understand back in 2021, the U.S. signed a COVID-19 Hate Crime Act that was essentially coined in another term as the Asian Anti-Hate Crime Bill. And I just want to point out one key sentence of this particular COVID-19 Crime Act, so you guys know that it was specifically for Asian Americans, okay, or those of Asian descent here in America, as well as Pacific Islanders. But it states here, following the spread of COVID-19 in 2020, there has been a dramatic increase in hate crimes and violence against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. This is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not forget this exact language, okay? And again, this is the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, right? They noticed an increase of hate crimes toward Asian Americans. And this became law March of 2021. And I also want to bring you back when this was first getting signed to hear some of the language that's being spoken by the community.
Because the past year and a half has been one of pain and struggle, marked by despicable and sickening acts of hate and violence against.
One quick thing. She said a year and a half of increase in violence, and they're going through pain and struggling. I just want you to keep that in your mind, because that's going to be very relevant as we work through this video. Because again, they said an increase in hate crime towards Asian Americans for a year and a half. Just keep that in mind.
The Asian American community. Those of Asian descent have been blamed and scapegoated for the outbreak of COVID-19, and as a result, Asian Americans have been beaten, slashed, spat on, and even set on fire and killed.
All right. So she explained what they're essentially going through. It doesn't sound no worse than what Black people go through each and every day, not just for a year and a half, but ever since our ancestors landed foot in this country. We've been going through these very same things. And I'm not hating against the anti-Asian hate crime bill. The only thing I'm saying is, where is ours? So let's get into the numbers. I don't want to chat here too long. Biden signs anti-Asian hate crime bill marking significant break in partnership. Significant break in partnership. Make sure you keep that in mind. Harris said, first to applaud, because of you, history will remember this day in this moment when our nation took action to combat hate. This is your so-called Vice President, Kamala Harris, who is Black or Asian or both or neither one, who knows? Who went to, I believe, Howard University and got the little, part of AKAs, but nonetheless, I'm not going to talk on our Greek fraternity brothers and sisters. But she's definitely giving AKAs a bad look here by not supporting Black people who are the ones who put Joe Biden and herself in office. I digress. Now, it states here, the president also called the history of mistreatment against the AAPI community in the U.S. un-American. Un-American. Joe Biden is stating the hate and the mistreatment against Asian Americans are un-American. When have you ever heard him say this about Black people? When have you ever heard him say things to protect foundational Black Americans? Silence is complicity, and we cannot be complicit. We have to speak out. We have to act. That is what Joe Biden is stating when he was signing this crime bill. Let me point some other things out. The House of Representatives on Tuesday gave final passage to the bill with 364 to 62 votes after the Senate passed the bill last month. Again, family, this is back in 2021. I'm trying to bring in some context. Now, they were stating how 94-1, there was essentially, I guess, a couple of Republicans that opposed it. It states here that all votes in opposition were from Republican members, with Missouri Republican Senator Josh Haley, who challenged the result of the 2020 election after the Capitol attack. So during this time, Democrats had the House and the Senate, so they could essentially pass anything. And then again, Joe Biden states, hate has no place in America. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It has hate in America ever since we landed foot on this ground. And then secondly, family, the FBI started taking statistics back in 1991 of hate crime bills. Who do you think have always been topping the charts, leading the charts in these hate crime attacks and acts? It has not been Asians. Let me point that out. It has not been Asians. But every time I look around, the symbolism and depiction of the hate that's in America is mainly towards Asian Americans, which is 1,000% untrue. But that is what they're showing people. So even Black people are sympathizing. Oh, maybe we shouldn't. We're not doing that. But this is what they're showing on TV. Remember last year where they continue to have these Black men in pink sweat tops, or something was pink on them to identify them, like they were essentially going out attacking Asian people. But come to find out, these gentlemen were immigrants, first thing. Then second thing, the one constant thing that we continue to see in these videos is they wore something like a pink book bag or a pink sweat hood. And believe me, it had ops all over it. It had agents all over it, right? And some of these so-called attacks were even looked like they were staged. But I digress. But the picture of it in America is that Asian Americans had the highest rate of hate crimes, and that they should be protected at all costs. Everybody should be protected, for one thing. But secondly, when you go back since 1991, when the FBI has been recording this information, you're going to continue to see, no matter what year, family, that Black Americans are the ones that continue to have these crimes done against. It states here there were 10,840 reported incidents of hate crime in 2021. 10,840. It says a 31% increase from 8,026.3 reported the previous year. Let me move on. The top 5 bias categories in the supplemental report were anti-Black. Then it goes to anti-white, anti-gay, anti-Jewish, and lastly, anti-Asian. Now, some of you are going to say, oh, well, there's not as many as Asian as there anyone else. And that's why the FBI does it by percentages. So you have a true, simple number to go by, knowing you what group is being targeted the most. So after we look at all these categories, we see that anti-Black is number 1, right? Then we go down to anti-Black hate crimes rose 14% to 3,277 incidents, while white rose to 27% at 1,100, basically. And we even doubled those numbers. And I would like to believe that those numbers that are called so-called anti-white, guess what that probably truly is? Self-defense, people fighting back against white supremacists. That's probably what that is. But they added those as numbers. It goes on to talk about the percentages that are adjacent to the Jewish community as well as the gay community, okay? But I'm just going to give you the numbers here today, family. That way you guys don't get confused with my bias or my rhetoric. Again, now, anti-Black violence has long been the most common American hate crime. So let me get into the numbers again. Now, this is important, though. That's why I highlighted. Give me a second. It states here that one pattern has remained consistent since the FBI began tracking and reporting hate crimes in 1991. Black Americans have been its most frequent victims. And basically, when they did this report, they said the pattern is absolutely clear and it's overwhelming. And stated in 2020, that's the last year we have numbers from right now. The FBI data show we had the worst month ever for anti-Black hate crimes. And I know a lot of you people who voted Democrat, you're probably waiting, when is Joe Biden going to sign this anti-Black hate crime bill? When is he going to sign that? Since our numbers double and triple and quadruple every other group, right? We only compared it to white people, which we doubled them. So you can look at Jewish, you can look at gay, you can look at Asian, and we probably quadruple those numbers. But you don't hear anyone talking about a anti-hate crime bill. And you guys have been seeing all these videos of our black teenagers getting assault with chairs. That's been a big thing going on. Nothing has changed with the police. So please don't tell me about the George Floyd lynching act. Please don't tell me nothing about that act. That act has no power. It has not been doing anything for Foundation of Black Americans. It has not been doing anything for Black Americans at all. We are still getting killed by the hands of the police. Not all police, because I know some of you feeble-minded, but nonetheless. Let's get into it. So these are the 21 hate crime statistics. Again, a lot of these statistics run a year to a year and a half behind, just so they can gather the data, okay, to get you guys. Now, we look at the most hate crimes in America. I want you to focus on the numbers. The most hate crimes, because there's different types of hate crimes, right? You have religion hate crimes, sexual orientation hate crimes, race hate crime, disability hate crimes, so on and so forth. But majority of the hate crimes in America are race-based. 64.8%, 65% of hate crimes in America are based upon your race. Religion at 13%. Sexual orientation at 15%, coming in at number 2. Okay? I just, again, focus on the numbers. Again, as we see this bar chart, you see 4,470 acts of violence based on race. Okay? You have gender last. You have religion second. But we triple religion when it comes to race hate crimes. Okay? Very perspective. I know you guys are very smart people, so stay with me. Here we go. Known offenders. They have white people at 56.1% were white. Right? Then they have 21.3 are black. And again, I believe that our numbers are getting mixed up when we defend ourselves against white supremacy and white hate. That's exactly what that probably is. But let me go a little further. It says 13.5% race unknown. No, what we're going to do here, we're going to add that 56 with that 13. So we're going to end up with around 69. 69% of white people have committing hate crimes. Okay, not just the black folk, but majority black folk, but not all black folk, right? And when we look at this, why did I add that 13.5%? Because a lot of people come to this country, according to our Census Bureau, are considered white, but they may put other and put in, oh, I'm from Afghanistan, or I'm a white Hispanic, or they do these things so they can dwell within the benefits of being a minority. Okay, but by their name, people know that they're not black, or at least black American. And I'm gonna get to the numbers so you don't think I'm conflicting information here. Other part of this, when Middle Easterners come here, according to the Census Bureau of the United States of America, they are considered white. So when they brought over the Afghanis, they were considered white. You also have people from Latin America. When they come over here, if they're of a lighter skin tone, and a lot of them do look white, they consider themselves white and not other, or Hispanic non-white. They don't do that. They consider themselves white. But we'll get into the numbers. It says most hate crime incidents, 32.3 occurred in or near residents' homes, and then 17% occurred on highways, roads, alleys, streets, and sidewalks. That's because white supremacists attack people at their homes. They have no respect, even for the places that you decided to buy a home or a house from. I digress. I'm just giving you the numbers here because I don't want you guys to get lost. So again, 65% of the hate crimes in America is based on race, okay? And again, that's the number that they gave us. Let's moving right along. Now, this is a statistic crime chart from 2020, because I know we went all the way back to 1991 and it's been consistent. But this is the most important year because this is the year that the Democrats based their COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, or as we all know it as the Anti-Asian Hate Crime Bill. They based it off the 2020 crime statistics, right? Because of COVID-19. Let's look at it. Total number of race incidents. As we look at this again, family, look at 2019 and look at 2020. 2019 is purple, 2020 is turquoise. And as we look at this, it's still anti-Black being number one, doubling and tripling everyone else. So anti-Black, 1,930. That is for 2019. And for 2020, we have 2,871. Now, if you look at these other numbers, anti-white, anti-Latino, and anti-Asian, we are doubling and tripling every other group. But again, as we go and refer back to the video in the big, we refer back to the video, you stated that they based their numbers off a year and a half of increased hate crimes towards Asian Americans. The question is, why didn't they make a hate crime bill for Black Americans as well? Because, family, these numbers don't lie. These numbers do not lie. And then I also read a report that the FBI numbers are skewed, meaning that they have manipulated the numbers. Why would the racist FBI ever manipulate numbers to actually show that Black Americans are being attacked and hate crimes are being inflicted upon them more than any other group? Wouldn't they flip the script? I digress, family. But these are the things that they're posting on social media. Anti-Black or African American hate crimes continue to be the largest bias incident category, with 63.2% of all single bias incident in 2021. Did you catch it? Now, I want you to keep this in mind. 63.2% have been anti-Black. Okay? Let me go back. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure you catch these numbers, family. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Now, when we look at this, remember I told you guys when it says known offenders, they had 56% white and then 13.5% race unknown. Remember I told you to add those two numbers, so we had 69%. Remember that? Now, doesn't this make more sense when you have 63.2% of all the hate crimes being targeted towards Black Americans? Then it says, additionally, anti-Asian incidents represented only 4.3%, while Hispanics actually experienced more than Asians at 6.1%. And then we get down here into the numbers of religion. Of course, Jews are at the top of that. Islam is at the number 3 spot. But again, this is being reported by the federal government, right? But people would like to ignore these numbers, and we cannot do that. We cannot ignore the numbers that are right between our very eyes, okay? I see we got Jermaine Anderson. Nice to see you. Leonard, PG Determined. Nice to see everyone here today. I'm going to get in some of your comments real quick, and then I'll continue on. PG said they might not know karate, but they know crazy. Ask the two Asians that, wow, they're on. Absolutely. But again, this is, you know, we're not talking about any crimes versus themselves, but in the demographics of America, who's being targeted the most? Who's being targeted the most? PG Determined states, I'm so sick of the blatant disrespect. They won't pass a hate bill for us because they're the ones that hate us. They may as well throw themselves in jail, especially the Jim Crow Joe. Absolutely. I cannot agree with you more. But this is the news stories that I saw that, researchers say the FBI statistics on hate crime across the country are flawed. Really now. The racist FBI is reporting the truth, but you say it's lies. See, that's when white supremacy takes both sides of the argument, where you're so goddamn confused. It's kind of like CRT and then anti-woke. It's like Black people have been using the term woke, especially in those conscious communities, ever since the late 70s to early 80s. And that's being conscious and aware of the situation in the system of white supremacy and anti-Black racism. That's the only thing that woke actually meant. You better wake up. You better not think all these people around here are your friend simply because they gave you a job. Those so-called people you work with in your workplace, don't think because they smile and wave every day that they may not hate your ass or your color for what you represent. That's about being woke. I don't even know what woke is on the right or the left side. They have adapted, mutated, different amalgamations of the definition of what we know woke essentially is and not what they want it to be. And then they just created some CRT, critical race theory. What the hell is that, family? What the hell is critical race theory? Oh, and if you read it kind of broken up, you'll be like, okay, well, people are critical about race and it's a theory, or is a theory about race which is critical? And then they're relating CRT towards slavery and Jim Crow, which happened, but they're trying to make it a theory. Like it's questionable if slavery or Jim Crow actually happened. You can't make this up, family. And that's what it essentially is all about. You can't make it up. Now, you also have the Department of Justice giving statistics as well. Just so I can give you another governmental source, so I'm not just totally focused on the FBI. The Department of Justice states that race is the #1 hate crimes that lead in America. And here's the thing. When people from the Caribbean and sub-Saharan dark-skinned Africans come to America and they want to be buddy-buddy, just remember, they can't distinguish from most of you if you are a Black American or not, because from a distance, if you're this complexion, we all look the same from a distance. So just be aware of that as well, okay? Since people want to take side and divest. It's just a lot of hate against Black Americans from everywhere, even from our own people that are across the ocean. Hate even from there. Hate, envy, jealousy, who knows what it is. Okay? I'm trying to scan through this Department of Justice sheet for us real quick. I thought I had something highlighted, but we will move on. Now, first thing I want to point out is I believe some you guys understand what's going on right now from what I've been seeing. Okay, this is what I've been seeing. And quite frankly, family, you know, the cell phone, photography, all of these things have been great to keep these things on record. I want you guys to see the beginning.
Somebody call off. Back up. Hands up. Joey, stop.
And that is what we're going through today, family. We have constant attacks that's coming against us. And unfortunately, it's coming to our teenager and our kids, even in the place where they're supposed to be safe, like an educational institution. But that has not been the case lately. But history tells us that unless we start to protect ourselves and always be on the defensive and have unity and camaraderie within our ranks with our own people, then these things right here are going to continue to happen. And these are the only ones that essentially have been recorded. But of course, there's probably been a lot more Black massacres that no one has recorded because they're in the field buried somewhere. Yeah, stay woke, real talk. They want you to fall asleep and try to demonize everything we come up with. And these things are continuing to happen. Let me show you this. I'm not trying to show you guys receipts only. I want to make sure I show you some invoices to tell you what you owe. Pay close attention.
Oh, shit.
Let me rewind it.
Oh, shit. Hey. Oh, shit. Hey. Put it down now. Oh, shoot.
Tell them to move.
Put the chair down now. It's not even funny.
And he said it was funny. The guy holding the chair said it was funny. But the other guy is knocked out by the computer keyboard. And yes, he was a foundational Black American. The one who got hit by the chair. But we have some other things that are essentially more important than granting and passing an anti-Black hate crime bill. We have other things more important. Even though we're being attacked, whether it be in public or by the hands of the police. But we have other troubling things that we have to keep on the forefront to make sure they continue to get support. Listen to this. Look at what community is getting support from the federal government.
And President Biden has been nothing but consistent about his foundational belief in human rights, and LGBTQ plus rights are human rights. And we, again, back to the earlier question, are never going to shy away, be bashful about speaking up for those rights and for individuals to live as they deem fit, as they want to live. And that's something that's a core part of our foreign policy, and it will remain so.
Again, support from the federal government for anything that's LGBTQ and anti-Asian. Okay. I'm just showing you where your vote went, family. That's all I'm doing. Then I'm showing you guys who are on the fence about voting, what side of the coin are you going to vote for? See, and that's why we have to be strong on reparations. Because we don't know who we're dealing with, family. Let me show you who we're dealing with. The cat was like, what are you doing? The hell? Oh, hell no. The cat got up out of there like, wait a minute, you eating doo-doo? There's not a dare in the world that have ever had me to do that. Man. Yep. That's what's going on in the world right now, family. But I think what's most important to show comparable videos for the dominant society so we can showcase their most talented and intellectual and civilized people as well. Just as white media always show Black people in the best lights when we're in mutual combat in the streets, showing the very low level or low brow community of Black people, which is only like 5% of us, right? But they will show that constantly because they understand that TV and media are the eyes to the mind in order to change your perception about other people as well as yourself. But I think that their high society citizens don't get enough airplay, so to speak. So let me play this video in its entirety so you can get the full wrath of the excellence those in their community.
Who fucking put fucking
The dog.
Great citizens here.
Yo, she banging the shit out of her, The cat? Look, another dog.
She did that on purpose, Mom. She put her hand in her mouth. Yes,
The dog's fighting now.
Looks like some sort of calm pandemonium going on here.
Police. Now she got a phone police.
She put her hand in her mouth.
The dog is in the house.
She did that shit on purpose.
Yo,
What's
tasing.
going on right here? You guys have to understand that the policeman tased the dog. The policeman tased the dog. So keep that in mind as well.
That dog bit everybody, yo.
There you have it, family. I think that shows a level of society on their side in a really bright light, because we don't have enough of those videos, but we have enough of our own, because that's the way they constructed it. I really want to give a shout out to First Them News on Twitter. The brother is on point. He posts a lot of great content on his Twitter page, so go and support him as well. Let me see what you guys are saying in here. I see we got Jay and Foreman in the room. You guys have a great and wonderful weekend. Check out my new travel video. I just posted the one from South Africa, and I also posted the one from Ghana of last year. So check those out. I see you guys on the next one. You have a great and wonderful weekend. I'm out.